Hey YouTube, Texas Blades here. I was working on a customer's blade this morning. I just wanted to go over a few tips and tricks that I kind of figured out the hard way on stainless. Number one, you can see this right here and this right here. Drill your holes before you start anything else. Get your knife marked out on there and figure out exactly where you want your holes and drill them out. I'm doing everything by hand. I'm not doing anything with equipment. The guy that's teaching me everything wants me to learn to do everything by hand first, and then he wants me to start going into the equipment afterwards. He said he did it by hand for the first probably 2 years he's been doing this, and he wants me to go the same route. So, and I feel more comfortable with hand anyway. I've done it with machines, belt sanders, handheld belt sanders, and then he has a really big belt sander that's made by Jet, and I feel more comfortable doing it by hand than anything. And when I say by hand, I mean literally by hand. That's how I do everything right there. That and an angle grinder. I do use an angle grinder to shave down my bevel. And I kind of tried to go square with this one and make it beefy right here. But I think I'm going to go ahead and smooth that out. This is the first time I've ever worked with stainless. Any one I've ever done has been out of 1095 or out of a file. So, and you can see it needs work like this right here. Isn't as wide as this one right here, so I'm going to have to go back and shave a little bit more off. I kind of got away from it right here when I was doing my file work, and the bevel raised a little bit. I'm going to have to even that out a little bit. And then you can see this one's pretty good. It's not too bad, but right here it comes down a little bit, and I'm going to have to straighten that out. And then the holes, just make sure you drill, and it's best to use a drill press. That's all I'm going to say, because you can make a mistake and then you got to pay for it later with your sanding and filing. So, but this right here was a design that I had come up with, and a buddy of mine was going through my patterns and seen it and really liked it. I think I'm going to bring the inside in a little bit more down here, kind of even it out with this one. You can see this one doesn't go in as far, so I think I'm going to bring it in just a little bit. You can tell I've been working on it with the creases right there. I've been sanding those out, and I did make them some holes, and I tapped them so he can put a handle on here later, but we just do paracord handles for now. That's just what I'm able to do, so that's what I'm putting on here. I don't really like the G10 handles. I hate wooden handles. I like mostly carbon fiber handles, but those are really expensive. So we're just going to wrap our bushcraft and survival knives in paracord and ship them out that way. Our knives are, much cheaper than the average custom builder anyway. So, like I said, we're doing this more for fun than anything. If we make a couple bucks at it, hey, that'd be nice, but it's not the ultimate goal here. The ultimate goal is to become a bladesmith. And my buddy, he jumps on the forge and can actually pound out Damascus. I mean, he does it all, and eventually I would like to learn to do all that as well. So we're going to keep tips and tricks coming as often as we can. I'm going to go ahead and sand all this out by hand, this whole side, and get this indention out, and then I'm going to get this little out of here that happened. And I did realize that when you work with stainless scratch is a lot easier than just like 1095. So if you're working with it, a good tip. Let's see if I can find it. We'll just use this for when you're working on it. Just go back and forth and keep your knife straight on there. Don't go this way or this way, because you'll leave little scratches all through it. And these pads work well. This side's really coarse, and then you move to this side and it's really fine. and it really buffs it out, and that's what I'm going to be using to buff everything. I'm not sure what grit it is or anything. It's just a little like scoring pad or something. I don't know, but it works well. Like I said, just make sure you're running this way, and try not to. You know, I'm right-handed, so naturally I want to hold the knife like that. You got to correct that with your eye and make sure you're holding it straight. You know, a lefty might do that. Just correct it and make sure you're running it flat on there, and do this part and then work on your blade. You can tell this one needs a lot of work, but just that little bit of rubbing I just did, you can see a difference between this and this, or this. You know, so these little pads work well. I'm going to find out exactly what they are, and I'll let you guys know when I do my sanding video. I think I'm going to do it on this knife. I'll start sanding on it, and I'll show you how I do everything by hand. You know, most people do it with equipment, but not everybody has that equipment sitting in their shop, and my goal is to show that you can make a knife with just a couple of simple things. In fact, the equipment I have all together, I probably have $40, $50 invested, and then maybe another $20, $25 in sandpapers and stuff like that. There's all my sanding equipment right there, and I got a good deal on some large sandpaper. We're going to show you a good way to save money on those, where you don't have to buy these belts. You can buy these, and you can either make your own, or I just cut them down to size and use them on my little hand sander, my little palm sander here. So we'll try to get those videos out as quick as we can. And like I said, the next video I'll put out on customs are going to be sanding and grinding. Very little grinding is going to be happening. I use a bench grinder to do most of my grinding on my file knives, but when I'm working on a customer's knife that I know is for a customer, it's for somebody, and this is for a buddy, so he wouldn't mind if it had a few flaws, but I want to make it as flawless as possible, and I'm just not ready to start jumping into the grinders and all that good stuff. But we'll show you some grinding on our file knives we make, and we sell our file knives for really cheap, so they can come out a little scuffy, or, you know, as long as they have a nice finish on them, it don't really matter. People don't care. They don't. You know, they're buying it more for a conversation piece than to actually use, whereas I beat the hell out of mine, so I just don't care what they look like, you know, as long as they're functional. So, but we'll come back on this one and do a sanding video and show you how I sand all my knives. Thanks for watching, YouTube.